Does Poppy know best? David Ortiz says he has the answer to all the Chicago Cubs losing ways. It's ditch the day games. I'm Chciago, joined by ESPN Chicago's Jesse Rogers. Jesse, why does Poppy think the nighttime is the right time?
Well, you know, that's what most baseball teams do. They play 55, 58, 60 night games a year, and it gets players on a routine. The Cubs are up to 38 night games. That's the most in their history. They're limited by the city of Chicago because Wrigley Field is in a neighborhood, and people want to go to bed, basically. So they've limited the games over the years, and it does hurt them. I mean, as a reporter that has to deal with the day, the night, and the travel, it does get to you. Now, is this the reason the Cubs haven't won a World Series in over 100 years? Of course not. But every little thing contributes, and I think David Ortiz has certainly talked to enough Cubs and former Cubs that have told this to him. I don't think he made this up out of nowhere. So it is interesting that someone prominent like this outside of Chicago brought this up, but it has been a topic over the years. Too many day games, you know, that juxtaposed with the night games kind of mess with people, and the Cubs end up losing an edge over the course of a long summer.
You mentioned the limitations. How challenging would it be to add more night games to the Cubs' schedule?
Kerry, you have no idea how challenging anything in Chicago is, especially with Wrigley Field and the Cubs these days when it comes to politics. They've been trying to renovate Wrigley Field now for a couple years. They can't get started because of various political roadblocks. And basically to get to 38 night games, it took a heck of a lot of negotiation. So to get up to 50 or 60, it would take a lot. The city, the neighborhood surrounding Wrigley Field would have a problem with it. I don't think many people like the fact that there's 38 night games now. Of course, the other side of the coin is you kind of know what you're getting into if you move near Wrigley Field. There's going to be baseball there all summer long. So it would take quite a bit, but they have gotten to 38 night games, so at least you know, that's a start, but it's not the finish line.
And you mentioned this about the community, the Wrigleyville area, but how would fans, because it seems like those day games are awfully popular, how would fans react to it?
You know, the average Cub fan wants whatever is best for the team to get them to a title. The Cubs have gone to the playoffs with their current night and day game schedule, so it's not like it can't happen. But, again, any little thing that gets you closer to what your ultimate goal is, I think most Cub fans would like. Now, the Cub fans that live in the neighborhood, that's a little bit different story. You'll get a mixed reaction for sure. There might be some that enjoy more night games, but I think the majority want the neighborhood kind of quiet at night, and so they'd probably be against it. But again, that's just the people in the neighborhood. I think the masses would just simply want the Cubs to do whatever it takes to get them to a World Series.
And as you mentioned, the Cubs certainly struggling these days. They're last in the NL Central and have one of the worst records in the National League. So hopefully things will change for your sake at the very least. Jesse, that's ESPN Chicago, Jesse Rogers. Thanks, Jesse.
Anytime.
I'm Chciago with your latest ESPN headline.